Bienvenue à tous. Welcome to Reporters Plus here on France 24. In this edition, the forgotten wars of Congo. While genocide of neighbouring Rwanda lives on vividly in the minds of the world, the slaughter that followed in Congo is less well remembered, even if the death toll was much higher. Between 1996 and 2003, several million people were killed. Exact numbers are still disputed. The ethnic conflict in Rwanda was the spark that inflamed Central Africa into conflict. Zaire, now renamed the Democratic Republic of Congo, became the battleground and the killing field. Forgotten wars? Well, certainly not if you and your family have been affected by it. This report's by Nicolas Germain and Thomas Nicolon.
I'm in this cemetery because I lost a 13-year-old daughter. We're struggling. We want financial reparations. Our house was destroyed. We lost everything.
Look at this cemetery. It's been abandoned. It needs to be a place that people visit, where people can pay tribute to all those who are buried here.
These protesters in Kisangani say Congo's war victims must not be forgotten. Several million people died between 1996 and 2003, the vast majority of them civilians. Many were brutally killed, but most succumbed to diseases that could have been cured in peacetime. It's been described as the deadliest conflict since the end of the Second World War. 20 years later, these crimes remain unpunished. The First Congo War began in late 1996 and ended a few months later with the fall of President Mobutu. He'd been in power for over 3 decades. The Rwandan government sought to topple him because he had provided safe haven for Hutu killers after the genocide of 1994. Rwanda, Uganda and their allies helped Congolese rebel leader Laurent Désiré Kabila depose Mobutu. The UN maintains that this coalition targeted not just those responsible for the genocide, but also Hutu civilians, children, women and the elderly.
The apparent systematic and widespread attacks described in this report reveal a number of inculpatory elements that, if proven before a competent court, could be characterized as crimes of genocide.
Rwandan President Paul Kagame has always rejected this accusation. As Kabila grew more confident, he sought to break away from Rwanda and Uganda, who now turned on their former ally. The Second Congo War had begun. Congolese rebels formed a coalition called the RCD, which was backed by Rwanda and Uganda. They never reached the capital, Kinshasa, but did occupy much of northern and eastern Congo for 5 years. They massacred civilians and plundered Congo's vast mineral wealth. They targeted coltan, cassiterite, gold and diamonds. Halfway through the Second War, on the 16th of January 2001, Kabila was assassinated by his bodyguard in Kinshasa. To this day, it's unclear who gave the order. Kabila was replaced by his son Joseph. He signed the peace agreement that put an end to the Second Congo War. When Kisangani fell into rebel hands on the 15th of March 1997, it was a turning point in the First Congo War. It signaled the beginning of the end for Mobutu. It's here in the Lumumba Stadium, now dilapidated, that Laurent Désiré Kabila delivered a famous speech.
He whipped up the crowd here. He asked them, do you want the war to stop? Do you want a ceasefire? Do you want negotiations with President Mobutu? The crowd, especially young people like you now, shouted, no negotiations with Mobutu, the dictator. He must fall. We are fed up. We want a new regime.
I remember that day. I was here too. We, the people of Kisangani, we were shouting, move forward, move forward.
Exactly.
But the euphoria sparked by Mobutu's fall was short-lived, even among the rebels who had fought for him.
Today, looking back, I regret having joined his rebellion. Because nowadays, a small elite holds all the power, all the wealth. They are corrupt. They don't care about human rights. We're back to square one.
Donc on est à la case de départ.
Kisangani holds a strategic position on the Congo River. To its west lies Kinshasa, and east are Rwanda and Uganda. Among Congo's biggest towns, it's the one that suffered the most from the two wars. Two wars which really blend into one long series of massacres in most people's memories here. In Kisangani, Rwanda and Uganda ended up fighting each other, in part over access to the region's gold and diamonds. Kisangani's residents were the powerless witnesses and victims of a war between two foreign countries fighting on Congolese soil hundreds of kilometers away from their own borders. According to the UN, in just 6 days in June 2000, more than 6,000 artillery shells fell on the city. Over several days, our guide in Kisangani will be Dismas Kitenge from the International Federation for Human Rights. He has documented the wars and knows every street in the district of Chopo, which was the worst hit during the fighting.
Here, there were deadly clashes between the two foreign armies, the Rwandan one and the Ugandan one in the year 2000. Here, you see where the bullets hit the wall. There were civilians living in this house. Look, you see it everywhere. Each army believed Ugandan and Rwandan soldiers were entering people's houses to hide and launch attacks.
This woman was wounded by an artillery shell.
I'm so angry with Rwanda and Uganda. We didn't want this war. We didn't understand why they were fighting each other. I lost everything, loved ones and my house. Today I'm poor. I sell charcoal for a living.
This is all that's left of this house. Artillery shells fell here. The house was destroyed. Here again you see where the bullets went. The house collapsed before there was a well-constructed home here.
During the war, we couldn't do anything. A bomb fell here, and everything was on fire. Luckily, the children escaped, but the house, it burned down.
Okay, thank you. Now we'll go to the St. Joseph Hospital, which took in many of the wounded at the time.
Bonjour, Atex.
Hello, Atex. How are you? It's been a long time.
The manager had taken some white cloth to make a white flag, and with this man here, they would go out in the town looking for food and water.
You stayed until the end of the war?
Until the end.
So you went out looking for water for the wounded?
Yes.
You weren't afraid?
No.
There were artillery shells coming down.
Everywhere. There were so many people staying here.
The wounded were here, but also many residents who thought they would be safer here. So everywhere you had people lying about, and the wounded were in the bedrooms. There were more than 300 people here. They were such difficult times. When I heard on Radio France International that the war had ended, I cried. I cried so much. We had been so frustrated. We had been abandoned.
Dismas gives us the address of Kelenda Sefu Gongo. He was unlucky enough to be living on the front line between the Rwandan and Ugandan armies. 4 of his children were killed the same day.
4 in one go. And my old mother. I was shattered. I was no longer the same man. I left their bodies here. I could not even bury them. My children were killed in front of my own eyes. My wife was so stunned. She didn't cry. It was incomprehensible. The children had just come back from school and these people kill them in our own backyard. It was so depressing.
When you see all these photographs from back then, what do you feel?
Oh boy, it's so moving. It reminds me of those dark days. I heard the armies dropped 6,600 bombs on the city. 6,600 bombs.
The next day, Dismas takes us to the other side of the river, to the district of Lubunga, which was also badly hit during the war. We are going to meet Félicien Chilumba, who lost his first wife in 1997, killed by an artillery shell fired by Laurent Désiré Kabila's rebels. At the time, they had a 2.5-month-old baby.
Oui, bonjour. Oui, ça va.
Can you tell us what happened here during the First Congo War?
Every time I tell the story, it's really painful. When the shell fell on our neighbour's house, we were outside, and the shrapnel got into her eye, and she died immediately. She didn't have time to say anything.
And the baby, you saved it?
Yes, and now he's going to the local university.
Félicien refuses to look at the photographs of those tragic days, but his new wife, whom he married several years later, shows them to us.
The first photograph shows where the artillery shell fell on the neighbour's house. The second one here was taken just before they went to the cemetery. She's in the coffin and he's there.
Before leaving Kisangani, we go back one last time with Dismas to the town's war cemetery. Nowadays, It looks more like an abandoned field.
This is the cemetery of the victims of the Second Congo War. But in the area around Kisangani, you also have mass graves that were dug during the First War.
Why is there a beautiful memorial in Kigali for the victims of the genocide, but in Congo there is nothing?
The reason is simple. Here in Congo, those who took part in the war are still in power. They don't want people to remember the bad things they did back then. Those in power committed the crimes here, and they don't want the survivors to remember this, because otherwise they'll continue to seek justice and reparations.
One of the most infamous examples is Gabriel Amissi, currently number 2 in the Congolese army. According to the NGO Human Rights Watch, this former RCD rebel ordered a massacre in Kisangani in 2002. What does Congo's new president, Félix Tshisekedi, think about all this? During a recent trip to Paris, we asked him about his idea of creating a special tribunal for war crimes that took place in Congo.
We will let specialists set it up. The idea is to reinforce the rule of law in the Democratic Republic of Congo, so that the Congolese people will see that no citizen is above the law. All crimes will be punished in Congo, nowhere else, and by Congolese judges.
Is there a need for a special tribunal like there was in Sierra Leone and other countries?
Yes, for specific crimes that were committed in the Democratic Republic of Congo. But it will be temporary. And more generally, we want to reinforce the justice system and the rule of law.
Some Congolese say that people who committed crimes are still in power today.
Yes, that's possible, but it's not up to me as President of the Republic to start looking for them or to judge them. That is the role of the justice system, and so that institution will take care of that.
We now head to eastern Congo, the region that was the worst hit by the 2 wars. In Goma, we take a 3-hour boat ride across Lake Kivu to reach Bukavu. In a small hotel, we meet a man who used to fight for the RCD group, which was backed by Rwanda and Uganda. He belongs to the Banyamulenge community, Congolese Tutsis. They played a crucial role in the rebellions against Mobutu and later Kabila, but they feel marginalized by the Congolese government. They also dislike Rwanda. He doesn't want to be identified.
I don't regret having joined the RCD, but I do regret that the RCD was manipulated by a foreign power in its own interests. We, the Banyamulenge, lost so many people in all the provinces. The RCD is a political party but backed by Rwanda. And to this day, we, the Banyamulenge, we believe the RCD leaders are still working for that country.
What is your message for Rwandans today?
They should leave us in peace. They are our neighbors, our friends, our brothers, but they should leave us in peace in Congo.
The former head of the RCD is Azarias Ruberwa, today minister in the Congolese government. His critics say he always was, and still is, too close to Rwanda.
Every liberation movement must have a support base and allies. It's always like that. We are not ashamed of that. We don't regret that. We had allies during the war. It's obvious the RCD is not perfect, was not perfect. No liberation movement was ever 100% perfect. But the RCD's aims were noble We wanted the liberation of the country and the rule of law.
What do you think about the issue of impunity in Congo?
When a war ends, if you want it to last, you need to grant amnesty. What happened during the war benefits from an amnesty. In law, that is irrefutable. Some people might not understand why that is, but the fact is no charges can be brought forward.
The village of Kanyola is a 3-hour car ride from Bukavu. Its story demonstrates how foreign factions use Congolese soil as their battleground. Here, two Rwandan armed groups, the former Hutu génocidaires and rebels backed by Kigali, both committed massacres against Congolese civilians. Each group believed the locals were supporting their rival. Unlike many villages, Kanyola has its own mausoleum for the hundreds of residents who were killed during the two wars and in the years that followed them. Floride Kiriza had to be amputated when she was only 5 after former Hutu génocidaires opened fire on her family. Today she has a meeting with one of the few psychologists in the region.
What happened the day of the attack?
It happened at 9 a.m. The men entered our house. The whole family was there. They shot at us. My leg was half ripped off. Then I was taken to hospital. And that's where the surgeon amputated me and gave me crutches.
What is your message for Rwandans?
I don't want to see Rwandans in Congo anymore. They can stay in their country.
Before he became the priest of Kanyola parish, Wilfried Munyahakengwa had to flee another village in South Kivu that was occupied by the RCD. He regrets that so few people have heard about the Congo Wars.
In Rwanda, Tutsis were targeted. It's called a genocide. Here, no specific group was targeted, so it's not called a genocide. People talk of massacres and killings. That's the difference. But some experts say more than 6 million people were killed in Congo. But it's not a genocide, just massacres and killings. It's as if we have the right to die, but we also want the right to live.
To understand the legacy of Laurent Désiré Kabila and the two Congo Wars, we meet Isidore Daiwel, one of Congo's most revered historians.
They reinforced a feeling which is totally understandable, but dangerous. The feeling that Rwanda is to be rejected without nuance. And that is excessive.
Là, c'est excessif. Et moi, je pense que, je l'ai toujours dit, il faut
I've always said it. The Rwandans have to make a public apology to the Congolese if we want to find a solution to this problem.
réellement résoudre ce problème. Le Rwanda ne se limite pas à Kagame.
Rwanda is more than just Kagame, and the problem will not be solved in one day. It might take a decade.
Il faudra peut-être une bonne décennie.
So that once again we can have a peaceful atmosphere. And the earlier, the better.
Mieux ça vaudrait.
Since the end of the Second Congo War in 2003, armed groups, both Congolese and foreign, have repeatedly carried out massacres in the Great Lakes region. While impunity prevails in Congo, such killings will not cease.
A report by Thomas Nicolan and Nicolas Germain. You can see it again on our website, France24.com. This is Reporters Plus on France 24. Thank you for watching. Stay with us.